Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver and welcome back to another episode of World of Haru. It's the Haru arc. However, that was a pause for dramatic effect, by the way. However, the Haru arc may be ending sooner than we think. What's actually really interesting is, so we were Monday gamers last night, and we did P4S. We did Act 4 properly twice, which we ain't ever seen before. Well, I mean, you know, we ain't ever seen that before. If I was walking down the street and I saw Act 4, I wouldn't know a thing. No. So we did Act 4 twice, and we'd been to Act 4 for, like, I think a couple of weeks now. So we did Act 4 successfully twice, which is absolutely insane. And then I got the names mixed up because I thought Countdown was Finale and Finale was Countdown, but, like, whatever. We got to Act Finale, where you have to, like, go to your side, spread so you don't overlap any of the tornado AoEs, and then you have to count, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, that sort of thing. You have to do all of that. And, we'll do character-exclusive perks. Let's do a classic, like, fight every enemy, but we have money, Haru run, with all of Haru's perks. It's, Strength, Takashi, Light Source, Dexterity, and your seconds. That's a little weird. So that's so weird, I'm gonna look at it again. What the hell? Strength and Dexterity, and then everything else that isn't a stat check? That's crazy. But, anyways, what I was gonna say is, like, we got to Act Finale or whatever, the one where you have to, like, count, and it's, like, clockwise, but it's clockwise where the guy starts, and everybody's got to soak a tower, that sort of thing. Why did I do it in that order? That's pretty bad. It doesn't matter. But yeah, we almost did that perfectly on the first try. Like, we almost did it perfectly. And that was, like, the last pull of the night. We're raiding again today, and it's like, listen, I'm not saying this is the week, but I think this is the week. Because, like, Pinex is just the hardest part. Phase 1 is so bad. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, we're still struggling on Phase 1. We're still, like, we are doing Act 1. I mean, Act 1 is free. Act 1 is, like, the freest of free that's ever freed, alright? Like, Act 1 is free. Act 2 is not that bad. I missed a tower accidentally once. My co-healer missed a tower. But other than that, it's like we were doing it, like, almost perfectly pretty much every time, right? We did have a couple of deaths, but nothing that isn't recoverable. And it's just like, then it goes on to Act 3, which there were some miscommunication involving when, or I shouldn't say miscommunication, different interpretations of use knockback prevention when Kornthos kick is over, right? Some people interpreted that as the cast bar being over and they were getting killed, and other people were interpreting it as when the animation for Kornthos kick finishes and you're already, like, running towards your tower. So, like, some people were getting killed because they were hitting it too early. I don't know what mystery I want to do here. I kind of, like, there's not really an easy starting point, if you know what I mean. I guess we'll do, none of these? I don't know. Like, these are horrible mysteries to start with. We'll do ramen, I guess. I'm not particularly, happy about that. Carpenter hammer, monkey wrench, you know, I don't know about this one, Chief. This is, dear God, we have the dog store, right? That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. Dog store, save me? Oh, you piece. You son of a gun. You absolute coward. Thank you. That's what we were looking for. Woo, baby. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. And, that's the cue for my dog to try to, like, jump up on the chair to see what's going on because I'm screaming, about how that's what it's all about, baby. Okay, I don't know. Take a bath back out. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. We're full health, so I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just so stun-locked right now. I'm stun-locked about other things. Actually tilted, by the way. What if we did get foreign smonks? We're full health, who cares? I was like, oh yeah, they could help out, for sure, for sure. But like, so the Chaos Space Marine, this is a pivot of a pivot, right? But the Chaos Space Marines are getting a new rule book for Warhammer. And, you know, I've been building a Chaos Space Marine army over, like, the last 2 years, right? And admittedly, my progress has been slow, but, you know, I had a strategy, I knew what I wanted to do, I had already built the models, and I'd primed them. And you know what? I'm gonna finish them. I'm gonna tell you why a smart person would stop working on them. But, like, I had built the models, I had primed them. The thing about Chaos Space Marines is a lot of the time you gotta do conversions, and you've gotta make your own parts, because they have a lot of options, but they don't... Well, they do have the bits, like, the bits exist. However, it's important to whoever's our next enemy, by the way, and this next mystery here. It's important to know that, like, their bits existed, but the boxes would, like, come with the... They would come with, like, 2 power weapons, and then the option for the unit was you can have, like, you know, combi weapons or more power weapons that the box doesn't come with. And so you would either have to convert, build your own, you'd have to convert or, you know, find a bit for it or whatever to make it work. And that's what people have been doing for a while, because just kind of what the army, you had to do that a lot, right? And so for me, and for those who know, you'll know, oh no, Web, no, when I'm explaining this, but, you know, what I wanted to do was I wanted to have I play Mono Slanesh, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a team of Raptors move in, or deep strike in or whatever, with plasma guns and combi plasmas, because they could take those. I haven't gotten to the fast attack section of the Auspex tactics review yet, so I honestly don't know if Raptors can still do that. But, you know, combi plasmas, you gotta convert those. I don't think the box comes with plasma. I think it comes with, like, a plasma gun, but not, like, multiples, so maybe, I don't know. But, you know, I got, like, some Raptors with, like, plasma guns and stuff like that. And then I would have my Chaos Lord with a jump pack, deep strike in with them, so that the Raptors could have the rerolls to 1, so that they could overcharge their plasma guns. They could shoot them if they accidentally rolled a 1. I just bumped my microphone, my apologies. If they accidentally rolled a 1, then what they would be able to do is they would be, because the Chaos Lord deep striked in with them, they would be close enough for the buff, and they'd be able to reroll. And then, while the Raptors are flying around with the Chaos Lord... I cry, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. Let me just tell the story. But, you know, it's like you get to that point where it's like they're flying around, the Raptors are distracting the enemy backline. You then have the Chosen, those who know, those who don't. The Chosen, I'm sorry, I'll stop that. The Chosen would be riding up in Rhinos, because I didn't want to get a Land Raider. I didn't want to get another Land Raider. Although, admittedly, I have a Land Raider that I got from my Grey Knights that I don't need anymore because they took the ability of the Grey Knights to teleport their Land Raider. It's a whole thing, okay? You're gonna sense a theme here. They removed the ability, the strategy to teleport your Land Raider, which is sad. And so I don't want to use the Land Raider in my Grey Knights army anymore. So, you know, I guess I could. You could just see a Grey Knights Land Raider being commandeered by Chaos. That's lore-friendly. No, it's not, because Grey Knights would never fall. But anyways, I'm hamming it up, Yeah, we'll just do a little bit of this, that's fine. man-eating plant, by the way. Second mystery, man-eating plant. Second mystery, man-eating plant. Yo, we're investigating this. We're investigating this plant. It's singing about stuff. This isn't a musical. What the hell? But, yeah, so... You'd have the Chosen riding up in the rhinos. The rhinos! The metal boxes. I'm all over the place tonight, alright? It just is what it is. And so the rhinos are... the rhinos got the Chosen. Screw it. The rhinos are... the Chosen are in the rhinos. And then they get out and they've got thunder hammers. So the idea was, because you're playing Slaanesh, you get to fight first. So the thunder hammers will be able to go in and they'll be able to, you know, do some shenanigans. They'll be able to do a little bit of trolling. You know what I mean? And so... I don't really want to miss a 70%. I feel like RNG doesn't exist, honestly. Just, for some reason... I just feel like it doesn't exist. I feel like we could do this. Yeah. We never miss those. But yeah, so you'd have two squads, you'd have two rhinos and two squads of Chosen with Thunderhammers being backed up. Because I was playing Emperor's Children, I could get Noise Marines as troops, which I still can do that, thankfully. But I'd have the Noise Marines being the troops, and then I'd have Chosen being the elites, and then I'd have my Chaos Lord, and then the Fast Attack Lads being the Raptors, and they'd be able to fly around and be annoying. So here's the part why I'm sad, okay? The Chaos Lord cannot have a jump pack anymore. So my model that I converted out of like 4 different kits, like I kit bashed 4 different Space Marine kits together, including a special character who I bought for $35 for the express purpose of making my jump pack lord. The other 3 boxes were just lying around from other stuff, so that doesn't really matter, but I bought like a specific box for that. So my Chaos Lord is illegal now. I can't play him as what you see is what you get, and or WYSIWYG is what it's called. So he's completely like, I'm still gonna finish painting him because I think he looks cool as hell, but it's like, it's just very frustrating to have like poured your heart and soul into making what you think is a cool model, and now you can't play it anymore unless you did a narrative campaign and made your own rules for him and your opponent agreed to play with those rules. Because I don't even think they let you do Warhammer, like, what do they call it, Legends? Where it's like, you have a model that's no longer supported, but you can still play with it. Like, I don't know if they let you do that anymore. Because they let you do that with 8th edition. So you could still use, like, Sorcerer on Bike and Sorcerer on Steed and Slaanesh, right? You could still use them, but they just weren't getting rules updates. But yeah, so, you know, my Chaos Lord, who I really, really like, who I think is a really cool conversion, he just can't be played anymore. The Chosen had their war gear options completely changed, and so Thunderhammers aren't legal on Chosen anymore. So now the Chosen can't be what you see is what you get either. So, you know, I bought like a $10 pack of Thunderhammers for that, the 2 squads, and now they like, I mean, that's just frustrating, right? Like, you go out of your way, and those were the monopose models from the Start Collecting box as well. So I had to do like a lot of conversion and like work to make sure that they could actually hold a bolt gun in one hand and then the hammer in the other. And it's like, you know, that took me like a week. And now they're just gonna be proxies for whatever the hell the Chosen do now. I don't know. Like, it's impossible to pay attention to a review for the new rules for your army when it's like, oh yeah, the army is like one of the most powerful in the game now. By the way, though, a lot of our war gear has been changed around and restricted. So now your weird strategy that you wanted to use is completely not in the game anymore, and you can't use those models. Or you'd have to proxy those models, and then, you know, that's just like, I specifically built my models for the express purpose of being able to have what you see is what you get. And that's why I'm so frustrated. Is because it's like, I specifically went above and beyond to make sure that when I put my models on the table, my opponent would be able to look at them and say, okay, the Chosen has a bolt gun, not a bolt pistol, and the Chosen has a thunder hammer. Right? And I made sure it's like, hey, this Chaos Lord has a jump pack. He is in a leaping stance where he's jumping into the air. So, you know, you're not going to be surprised that my Chaos Lord can move 12 inches or whatever, right? I don't even know if they can move that far anymore, but that's just what I remember. And it's just so disheartening. And it's like, I'm going to build the army anyways. Like, I'm going to continue building it. And I'll just proxy it, because who gives a shit? Like, I'm just going to build what I think is cool. And then I'll just have a list of what I'm actually bringing. It's just so annoying, honestly. Like, it genuinely is, like, it is genuinely so annoying. And honestly, like, listen, I don't need to buy any more Warhammer. I've got enough Warhammer as it is. But, like, I, in the past, was still buying Warhammer, right? Like, you get what I mean? Like, you know, if you play, like, you know, right? Like, if you play a tabletop game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you have these models that you're working on, but oh, the cool new one came out. You gotta get that one, right? But like, I don't want to like buy Warhammer kits anymore. Like, do you know how fucking disheartening it is to be working on a project for 2 years? And here's the thing, I'm slow when it comes to the hobby, right? I'm very slow when it comes to the hobby. So, you know, for you can get it done on a weekend and be like, ah, yeah, it's not a big deal. I know, I spent $600 on this faction, and I spent like a weekend working on them, and then in a couple of months they're not going to be viable, but that's okay, because I'll just do it again. It's like, I can't do that. You know, I'm incredibly slow when it comes to the hobby. Right. I get like little bursts of momentum, and then I work on it for like a week, and then I touch it like 2 weeks later, right? Like, I'm very slow when it comes to it, but I have a lot of fun doing it. And it's just like, you're like you're working on something for 2 years. You're working on something for 2 years of your life. That's insane. Like, the only other thing that I've been working on, like, a hobby for fun-wise for 2 years is Final Fantasy XIV, and that hasn't felt like a waste of time, because that keeps getting better. But, like, you work on an army for 2 years, and you don't, like, and there's not really a rush to have it all. Like, I did build a lot of it, right? Because, you know, you can play with unpainted minis, even though, like, people don't like that. But I'm playing with my friends, so who cares, right? But the thing is, I couldn't do that, because we were in quarantine. We were in lockdown. So, you know, people were doing these, like, quarantine lockdown projects, and I wanted to do that too. Like, build an army up through quarantine, and then once everything opens up again, you can play your new army, and you can show it off to people. And it's like, my new army isn't allowed in the game anymore. Like, that's so fucked up. Right? Like, I'm sad. Like, I don't want to buy Warhammer anymore, because it's like, what they're doing now is, and it kind of makes sense what they're doing, alright, because they didn't sell these things as kits, you know what I mean? You had to kit bash them, you had to convert them, you had to, you know, you had to get creative if you wanted to do all this crazy shit, right? And they don't make you do that anymore. Oh, this one? They don't make you do that anymore, right? Like, I still remember Man-Eating Plant and, Violent... I was gonna say Fear Festival just for fun, but, you know, Violent Vigil and Man-Eating Plant. But, like, yeah, it's just frustrating, right? Because it's like, do I want to do TV Terror? No, I want to get the light source from Sailors, for sure. Saving Wordless Ward for last is kind of sus, by the way. You probably shouldn't do that. There's one more, right? Yeah. Got Branded, though, so that's not that good. The Branded is not that fun. Can I please get, like, a brick within a reasonable amount of time? Like an Amazon delivery brick, perhaps? No? Okay. But we'll grab the torch immediately, just in case of, like, you know... This is overkill, by the way. 14 probably could have got us through the rest of the game, but... It's just a bummer, you know? Like, I mean... The reason why they're doing it makes complete sense. Like I said, they don't sell the kits. You had to get creative. You had to do your own thing. And that probably put a lot of people off from playing Chaos. And what they're doing now is that the options that you have to customize your characters are the bits that come in the box, which is always what they should have done. But it just feels so bad that you go from having all this freedom in creating exactly the army that you want, and now you just have, like... And here's the thing, nobody's complaining about this, or very few people are, because Chaos Space Marines are about to become one of the most overpowered armies in the game. And so, you know, people instead are not liking Chaos Space Marines because they're like, oh, goody, I can't wait for Chaos Space Marines to win every tournament for 3 months before they get nerfed into the ground like every other faction that happened in 9th edition that aren't named Space Marines. But it's like, to have the ability to basically just have all this freedom and customize your characters exactly how you want is just so... And then having that taken away feels so bad. Right? Like, it really does. Like, you go from Chaos Lords basically being a Swiss Army knife of they can do anything in the game to being just a normal, like, data sheet that... I like, assume they can take relics and stuff, but, like, you know, I haven't, like... I was admittedly kind of skipping around through the video. I haven't sat down and watched it all yet, but it's like, it's just, like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy to go from having the, like, freedom to create your, like, favorite perfect unit that complements your army into a, you know, just, like, a generic thing that's like, oh, hey, it's the Chaos Lord. He can do this, this, and this, and no more. And some people... Like, I feel like this update to the Chaos Space Marines is for competitive players. It's like, it's to get people who don't own Chaos Marines to buy a bunch of models that are going to get nerfed into the ground, and then they're gonna do it to the next army. Like, I think that's what they've been doing the entire cycle of 9th edition, is they make the newest codex the most powerful, with some scrimblow units that nobody ever uses before. A bunch of sweat lords who want to win tournaments run out and buy them. And so everything is like, you know... They run out and buy them, then the book gets nerfed into the ground, and then it slowly gets built back up again, which is really annoying. And so it's like... And again, I haven't forgotten Man-Eating Plant Fear Festival, wink wink. But it's like... It's just so crazy, because it's like... For those of you who don't know 40k, like, Chaos Space Marines are this amalgamation of, like, lunatics in power armor, and what warband you're a part of, like, the warbands are completely different, right? And they all have their own unique personalities, and, like, unique styles, and so it's just so sad to see, like, somebody like the... I always get Iron Warriors and Iron Hands mixed up, but, like, the Chaos one, the ones with, like, the hazard stripes, like the yellow and black hazard stripes on their weapons, those guys, the rivals to the Imperial Fists, the Masters of Siege Warfare, it's so sad to see those guys have the same Chaos Lord as, you know, somebody, like, I play the Slaanesh ones, the Emperor's Children, right? The Emperor's Children are, like, fast, they are elegant, you know, they duel, you know, they're very, like, they're not honorable, God no, but they're, like, really prideful in how they fight, they're elegant. If you play Final Fantasy XIV, think Yulmore, something like that. And they're excessive, right? And so the fact that those two, like Iron Warriors and Emperor's Children, have the same Chaos Lord as, like, a fucking Khorne faction or a Tzeentch faction, it's so weird. It's so weird. And it reeks of, they made the Chaos Lord to be the most generic thing possible so that people rush out and, like, buy new ones, because most, like, I imagine a lot of people are gonna need I imagine a lot of people are gonna need Chaos Lords. I probably should have gone to the Monument, but, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, I imagine a lot of people are gonna need Chaos Lords. I do. I think that a lot of people are probably gonna need new Chaos Lords. Like, I mean, if I want to play, I need a new Chaos Lord. Because mine, my favorite model that I've built in a long time doesn't work anymore. That's so messed up. So it's like, I literally need to go buy a new one. Oh no, my Chaos Lord, he's broken! He's illegal! And the thing is, it's not like a card game either, right? Because like a card game, you know, you already know that like in the next season or whatever, the cards that you're working on now are going to be like invalidated. And I think that like just sort of like an implicit thing that I probably shouldn't have done that. We're going to the hospital. But like, you know, I think we want luck in the hospital is what I'm saying. You know, I feel like there's like an intrinsic, like, when you're playing a card game, you kind of know what you're getting into, right? And you're not really like, I mean, yeah, I'm attached to some of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I like a lot, right? I'm attached to like my first Mythic Rare in Magic, right? Like I've still got those cards somewhere in my like card holder box thing. But, you know, it's like, you can still free play, right? Like those cards, they get taken out of competitive play, but like if you still want to use them, you can, right? You just don't do competitive play, and you can still use the cards. But with Warhammer, it's like people want to play the new edition, right? Like people want to play the new version of the game, and so it's really dumb to basically see like a new version of the game just completely invalidating, like literally my army, right? Like the core of my army was the Chaos Lord buffing the Raptors and the Chosen riding around in the Rhinos while they're being supported by Noise Marines, and if the points cost allowed it, then some Havocs that I have, right? Like, that was the army. And then it's like the core of the army was the Chosen and the Raptors, but the Raptors were being buffed by the Chaos Lord. And, you know, it's like that can't, like, that doesn't really work anymore. Because, like, the Chaos Lord can't keep up with the Raptors anymore, right? And there's also, like, a bunch of weird stuff as well, like, certain units, like, what was it, like, I don't remember if it was, like, Possessed or something, but, Auspex Tactics was talking about how there were certain units that can't get marks, like Chaos marks. Like, that's so, why? Like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, the Chaos Army, there are certain units who can't get the Chaos mark. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. They're the Chaos Army. It's so weird. We're gonna sneak past her, that's fine. I think our only real threat is we doom out, so I definitely should have gone to the Monument. Does this work as free? Yes, it does. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the only problem that we're gonna have is dooming out, so I'm just gonna go as quickly as possible. But yeah, no, it just sucks, because it's like, it just feels like what they're doing is they're making the new codex as powerful as they can, and then people run out and they buy it so that they can win, and then it gets nerfed into the ground. And it doesn't feel like they're making it for... Like, okay, here's the thing. This is kind of ironic, coming from me playing this game. But people playing games to the best, or, like, not necessarily highest level, but playing the game to always, like, win and stuff, right? And that's, to me, like, again, ironic coming from me. But, like... when you... like, there's a video that I watched recently called Why People Hate the Multiplayer Community, and it was for Total War Warhammer 3. And it was somebody talking about it was somebody streaming, and he gets a chat message where somebody's asking him, hey, can Bloodthirsters and, like, Demon Engines work? Or whatever, right? Like, some unit, I can't remember, but it was a Khorne army, so he was like, you know, can these units that I like work? And the guy said that the best units in the game were, like, those units were fun, but they were also, like, he said they were usable, but they were just objectively worse than pretty much, like, the easiest to spam unit. And then he started laughing about how, like, it's pretty fucked up that if you want to play, like, multiplayer, the only way that you can't run something fluffy or fun, and you can't enjoy, like, the big monsters in your faction. The most efficient way to win is just spam as many of, like, the most overpowered, cheapest units you can, and you'll just steamroll anybody who's trying to, like, do something, like, fun, right? And, like, that kind of, to me, feels like how a lot of games go. And it's one of the reasons, and listen, again, ironic coming from me, but I feel like in the extreme, like, World of Horror is an extreme, like, it's okay when I do it, TM, but I feel like World of Horror is an extreme case, because it's not like, oh, Bloodthirsters can be used, and they're good, it's just that there's something better. It's like, in this game, some weapons will just get you killed because of how trash they are, right? You can make weapons that are bad work, but something like the bone saw, something like the wooden bat, something like the hunting rifle, those weapons will weigh you down. Right? So it's like, if somebody says, hey, can I make the baseball bat work? It's like, yeah, you can make the baseball bat work. If you want to spice things up, you can. Like, you'd be making the game harder on yourself, but you can do that. If somebody was like, can I make the, I don't know, like the ritual dagger or the scalpel work? Yeah, you're gonna have some accuracy issues, but yeah, if you want to, yeah, go for it. You know, but, like, if you want to win, then you're gonna pick the monkey wrench, or the heavy-duty flashlight, or the semi-auto, or the chainsaw. But other than that, you know, you can use weapons that are mediocre. It's just that, like, and this is a single-player game, so it's like you can have your own fun with it, and you can use the weapons that you like. But stuff like the bone saw, hunting rifle, again, they're just absolute trash. It would be very difficult to, and you'd have to go out of your way to make something like that work. But, you know, for something like, for, like, a lot of multiplayer games, right? Like, a lot of multiplayer games are, and we've won, by the way, like, we're completely fine. But for multiplayer games, right, like, everybody is so sweaty. And 99% of people who are playing these multiplayer games do not have the skill to be sweaty, if that makes sense. Like, that's one of the reasons why I think Final Fantasy XIV is such a breath of fresh air. Because it's like, the game is, easy, so it's not designed to the point where you have to be a sweat lord to have fun or to be good at the game. And 2, it's like, the team is very good at balancing the jobs. And, like, when people complain about something, like, a lot of the time, they're just being stupid, right? Like, there's a great video in Misshapen Chair's villain arc where he's, like, you know, or where he's talking about, like, people don't understand basic statistics, and it's like, listen, I'm bad with statistics as well, but even I know, you know, it's not, like, people complain that, like, Dancer does no damage. Dancer provides a permanent buff to one player in your party, and they give out raid buffs constantly. So the fact that they do, like, 2% less damage than Bard and Machinist, who cares? It's like they're giving you a constant buff. It's like 2 or 4%, something like that. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter, because it's made up for by the damage that they're bringing to the raid. And as people are like, oh, you know, Bard only does damage through its dots. Well, its dots are contributing damage, right? Or the songs are buffing the team. You know, a lot of the time when people in Final Fantasy XIV are crazy because they're trying to pretend that they're, like, 99 parse sweat lords who are, like, gods of the game. It's like, listen, I'm doing Savage, and I'm on the final fight of this tier, and we're getting through it. That makes me, like, as far as the community goes, of, like, people who attempt this stuff, it puts me in, like, the top, like, 10% easily, right? But here's the thing. I'm still mediocre at the game. The game's just easy, right? Like, the Savage content is easy to an extent. It is not designed to be impossible. It's designed to be an appropriate challenge for your skill level. But a lot of people are like, oh, I'm really good at the game. It's like, no. You are not a world first person, right? Like, you're just a normal person who's, like, playing the game, right? And so, there's a big thing in Final Fantasy XIV where people are, like, convincing the devs to ruin jobs because they just want to homogenize everything so they can just play whatever does the most damage. Which kind of leads back into the discussion about, like, people just want to buy the new Warhammer Codex so that they can win, and then they'll move on to whatever's next, and they'll destroy the current Codex. Like, they'll destroy the current army by getting it nerfed into the ground or changed to where, like, fluffy people can't enjoy it anymore, and then it's like, oh, well, not fluffy people, like, I don't play, like, a lore-wise, but I had a theme for my army, and that theme is completely ruined now. You know what I'm saying? Let's just win the game. Let's just win the game. Let's just win the game. I'll just walk you through it. -3, Takashi, he's gonna die in one turn. We've got a torch. -3, we're good, we're good. I'm pretty sure we could even fail one of them if we wanted to. But it's Man-Eating Plant and wink wink nudge nudge Fear Festival, right? So it's completely fine. I don't know. It's just crazy, right? Like, it's just crazy. Because everybody wants to be the best, and some people try to put in the effort, right? But it's like, the developers should never, in any circumstance, okay? They should never, in any circumstance, design the game for people who are going to play it at the most extreme. Because the people who are playing Final Fantasy XIV at its most extreme are like 0.1% of the people playing. The people who are playing Warhammer at its most extreme are probably making Games Workshop, or at least people who are playing Warhammer competitively are probably making Games Workshop a lot of money because they have to buy a new $800 army and build and paint it every like 3 or 4 months whenever like a new codex drops, right? So it's like, you know, it's wild and it's wacky for sure. So I mean, it makes sense why Games Workshop is doing what they're doing, because they're making it to where like the boxes have the bits that you need, or at least that's the vibe that I've gotten. And then there's like the idea that by making the newest book the most powerful for the next like couple of tournaments, and then nerfing it into the ground after it gets like a 60 or 70% win rate, and then the army never recovers until the next edition. People are already saying they can't wait for 10th edition to fix this. Oh my god. But, yeah, no, it's just like, I don't want to buy Warhammer stuff anymore. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy Malifaux. It's true. I will have to find the one other person in my city who plays Malifaux. But, actually, I shouldn't even say city, I should say state. But I find the one other person who plays Malifaux, and, you know, they can fight my Arcanists, I guess. But yeah, stay safe out there, have a good one. I have been recording this for way longer than I probably should have. I have 6 minutes to get ready for the Monday night raid, which could be... Well, we're probably gonna hit Enrage. But if for some reason our DPS on Phase 2 is better than Phase 1, which, I mean, Pineaxe is hard. Pineaxe is the hardest part of the fight. If our DPS is better on Phase 2... tonight, listen, listen, we've only got one more mechanic to do, and it's apparently easy. So, tonight could be the end of the Haru arc. But more realistically, probably the next time we raid, which is probably on the weekend, is the end of the Haru arc. So we're probably gonna get like 7 more Haru arc episodes, at the least. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, have a good one, stay safe out there, bye!